I bought these 4 broken MacBooks to see if I could fix them. Let's start with one of the easier ones and see if we can fix that one first. This video is sponsored by Whatnot, more on them in a minute. This first MacBook Pro is a model A1990, and this one we've been using around the shop a little bit, so I already know what the issue is. This one has a faulty battery. It has very little battery life, so all we need to do on this one is replace the battery. And that sounds like it'll be easy, but this one's actually pretty complicated. Let's get the back off and get into it. Okay, and the bottom cover is off. A little dirty, but not too bad. So here's the battery, and here is the replacement battery. Now, I got this replacement battery from iFixit. They do sponsor a lot of my videos. They didn't sponsor this specific video, but I used them before I even was sponsored by them. So I'm just a fan of their work. So this just needs to go in here. The main problem is that in order to replace this battery, we need to remove the main board. On the upside, this is very nice and clean inside. The fans are a little dirty, so we'll brush those out on the way. But other than that, this looks really nice inside. One of the first things I'm going to do is disconnect this battery that's in here by disconnecting the screw right here. But there's this ribbon cable first we need to remove. Come on. There we go. Now we can get that screw unscrewed. Get the battery disconnected. This just helps prevent any short circuits if I drop a tool or touch my screwdriver to the wrong spot. Okay, and there we go. And now looking at how this battery goes in here, the only thing that needs to actually go under this main board is this little part and this little part of this cable and this board assembly. So I almost feel like if I remove some of the screws over here, I can pull up on the board enough to get those parts pulled out and slip these parts back under the board how they go here. This is probably not a good idea. It's gonna be better to pull the board out, but it's just so much less work to do it the shortcut way. I think I gotta try it and see what happens. Now, one of the things that's difficult about these is these batteries are glued down with some very strong adhesive. So what I'm going to do is get some isopropyl alcohol and drip it down under them. And hopefully that will make it so it will loosen the adhesive a little bit for me. There's a much better way to do this, and iFixit actually sells a kit with this in it, but you can get a little kind of like syringe bottle and just drip the IPA down in there. That's a much better way than I'm doing it right here. I'm just going to go through and keep prying gently up on this and keep adding isopropyl alcohol as we go. That will slowly loosen that adhesive. I mean, slowly the way I'm doing it. It just slowly comes up. Can probably hear that. This takes a long time to loosen. Almost got this one though. Almost. That's a scary sound when you're working with lithium batteries, but everything's fine. Nothing's exploding. Okay. You can kind of see down here how that IPA just kind of turns this adhesive into mush and makes it so it'll release. And the nice thing about it is once this dries, then usually these strips are reusable and they'll just stick back down. So we got one part of the battery up. We've just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more to go. I'm not going to film this whole thing because honestly it's pretty boring to me. So I'm going to get this part done, and then once I get close to having it done, I will start filming again so you can see the progress. I get asked on a regular basis, Steve, where do you sell the stuff that you fix in your videos? And the answer to that is Whatnot. Whatnot is an app where you can search for new, refurbished, and used electronics, as well as lots of other things. You can buy video games, clothing, trading cards, sports equipment, and lots of other stuff. One of my favorite things about Whatnot is it's a live auction. So if something comes up that you want to bid on, but you're not sure about the condition of it, if you're not sure about one of its features, you can just ask the seller right in the chat. It's a little bit like eBay, but instead of just having a few photos to look through and maybe a description, it's an interactive live stream, so you can get any information you need to make an informed purchase right there on your phone. I scroll through Whatnot all the time looking for stuff to buy for my videos. In fact, I saw this NES on a Whatnot auction and I won the auction for $35. The seller shipped it out quickly and now I've got it for a possible future video. On Monday, August 14 at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm gonna be selling a bunch of the stuff that I've fixed in videos right on Whatnot. I'm gonna be selling a PS5, a PS Vita, this yellow Nintendo Game Boy, an Xbox One X, and a few other things that I'm gonna leave as a surprise. In addition to this, Whatnot is sponsoring a PS5 giveaway. So all you have to do is show up on my live stream to enter the giveaway. Here's how you can join the stream. The first thing you need to do is go to the description of this video and click the link. My invite link will give new users $10 off of their first purchase. After you click the link, you'll need to create an account on the web. Then you'll just need to download the Whatnot app. You can use your login info from your web account to log into the app. Then all you have to do is search for me, TronicsFix, bookmark my live stream, and then join on the day of the live stream. So click the link in the description and I'll see you on Monday at 10. So I've gotten almost all of them up. We're just on the last one right here. You can see how much IPA I've been pouring in on these things. This one's almost up. There we go. When you get enough in there, they just kind of come right up. So that's the nice thing. The downside is you got to be careful where you're prying, because under here, they've got holes, so if you were to take your pry tool and pry up against the battery there, you could be breaking off these components on the board. So you got to be super careful with where you're prying on this thing. Okay, now let's see if our shortcut will work. So I can see that the cable is loose right here. I do need to remove this part. I need to remove this little cable right here because that we'll be using on the new battery. So we'll take that off there. Then we need to remove these two screws. Then I'm going to loosen these screws over here and these ones over here. And hopefully that'll make it so I can pry up on the board just a little bit. I don't need much, just enough to slip this ribbon cable out. This should be loose, and it is. Now we need to see if we can pry up on this board at all. Oh yeah, you totally can. Okay, is that going to be enough? I'm not sure if there's adhesive holding these cables. Oh no, nothing's holding it down. Okay, that's good. I think we can do this. I think it might work. So, what I want to do is get something in there that's a little bit more flexible. Oh yeah, there we go. I think that's going to work. Come on. There we go. Okay, now with that in there like that, I think maybe get this part out, just like that, and up over that little hump. Okay, oh yeah, we're getting it. Okay, now let's lift up a little more right here. Okay, there we go. This is definitely not the way to do this. It'll probably save me, I don't know, at least an hour of time, but also it's just a dumb way to do it, honestly. Okay, so now we need something else to pry up from over here. Okay, that might be enough for us to get this part up. Come on, oh yeah. A little more. There we go. Got it. Got it. Okay, that actually wasn't too bad. All right, now, all of this adhesive, we gotta figure out. We don't want the battery sticking up or anything like that. That'll just cause problems, so we wanna make sure it comes out. Now, technically, we should be able to just let this dry, and that'll probably work. In fact, I think what I'm going to do now is just let it dry out a little bit, and then we'll decide whether we're going to leave any of that There is adhesive already on the new battery, so we don't really need any of it, but I also don't want to take the time to clean all of that off. I might end up having to do that anyway, but I'm gonna let it dry out and then decide what to do from there. Okay, and last one. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, and now we need to get the new battery in here and slip those little ribbon cables down in there. Ah, now my hands are sticky. Everything's sticking to them. So this needs to go here. And that cable needs to go down there. There we go. There we go. Good so far. Come on. Keep going. Okay, did we get it? I think that's basically it. So I'm going to remove this blue piece from the battery. That is what is protecting the adhesive from everything else. So once I remove that, it's going to be ready to stick down. So I want to make sure that I'm ready for that. Another reason this isn't the ideal way to do this, even though it is significantly faster. Okay. Now, however I put this is how it's going to stay. That adhesive is pretty strong. This is just protection for the battery. It's not sticky on this side anyway, so. Okay, I think we're good. So let's remove these. Okay, and I think now we are ready to actually connect the battery. Hopefully nothing explodes. Okay, good. Now, this little ribbon cable is the last thing before we install the little shield for it. There we go. Lock down. There we go. Now we can get the bottom cover back on, then we can start it up and see if all that work paid off. Don't worry though, I'm not forgetting to clean the fan. I know you were worried about that. There we go. And back cover on. Let's plug it in. Press the power button and see what happens. So far, nothing. Well, I think I hear fans. Oh, here we go. We got an Apple logo. Okay, this is great news. Does the touchpad work? Oh, yeah, it does. Oh, look at that. That is a beautiful sight. So I'm not gonna know for sure how well this battery actually works until I use it for a little bit, but that's gonna take a little while, so let's move on to MacBook Pro number 2. And this MacBook Pro is definitely dirty. This is an A2159. Let's see if it starts up. This has a note that it has... Main language. Press the return key. Can you just leave me alone? I'm trying to film here. And it has error code 2003F. We've also got some worn out keys here. Let's see if it'll start up though without charging it. No, looks like we're gonna need to charge this one. So I'm gonna get this one charged up and then we'll turn it on and see if we can get it set up. 2003F seems to be a problem with the Wi-Fi, so maybe whoever was trying to set this up just either had a bad connection or maybe there's something inside the computer. We'll find out though once we get it all charged up. Okay, it's been charging for a few minutes. Let's see if that's enough to get it started up. Oh, there we go. Apple logo. Okay, good news. Okay, and we are starting internet recovery. This may take a while. So I'm gonna let this thing try and recover itself, see where it goes, and see if we get that error code back. I feel like this is not a good sign. The amount of time it's gonna take just keeps going up. So I feel like we're gonna have to deal with this one. And there we go, that's the error we have. While it was supposedly trying to recover, I went ahead and just took the back cover off. I did want to make sure that I think these are the Wi-Fi antennas, make sure those are plugged in, and they look like they're plugged in, so I don't think that's an issue. So there's a couple more troubleshooting steps we can do before we get to taking anything apart down here. So let's do those first and see if that helps us out any. Next, I'm going to try resetting the PRAM or NVRAM. And so I'm going to press the power button. As soon as I hear the startup noise, I'm going to press Option Command P and R, and we'll see what that does. I didn't hear the noise, but I'm not sure that even worked right. I'm going to try that one more time. I'm just going to hold these down from the beginning. Nope. So that doesn't seem to do anything. But we'll try it anyway and just see what happens. Okay, so it is actually staying at 9 minutes instead of just counting its way up. Gives me a little bit of hope. Maybe that's going to work. And we're already down to just 5 minutes. 4 minutes! I can't believe that at least so far seems to be the fix. I mean, it's still got a lot to go, but man, that's amazing. Also, this progress bar keeps kind of like jumping around, and it'll go partially gray to white. It's just a little strange. I don't know if that's normal or not. I've never seen it, but there we go, just like that. I don't know. Guess we'll find out in 4 minutes. Oh, here we go. Okay, screen went blank. Hopefully it's just restarting. Oh, there we go. Okay, this is good news. Well, I guess now I'm going to set it up and see if it works how it should. If so, this was an easy fix. I got to get it set up though and see if there's anything else wrong, and if there is, we'll deal with it. If not, we'll move on to the next one. Select a Wi-Fi network from the menu or attach a network cable to proceed, but there's no Wi-Fi showing up here. Maybe if we go up here. Oh, here we go. Okay. Well, I'll try that and see if that'll work. Oh no! After all of that, and it's linked to an Apple ID. Well, unfortunately, because of how Apple has this set up, there's nothing we can do. This Mac is basically just parts now. Ah, such a bummer. I really wish Apple would make a way that you could remove activation lock. I understand that a lot of times devices get stolen, but in cases like this is not a stolen device, and there's just nothing anyone can do other than the original person that bought it. And there's no way to contact them, so unfortunately this is just junk now. But that's how it is. Let's move on to the next Mac. So this MacBook Air had something spilled on it on the keyboard. It's in actually really good condition, but something was spilled on it. I believe there's at least 2 other people that have taken a look at it to try to fix it, but they were not able to. So let's open it up. It doesn't turn on or anything. But let's open it up and see if we can figure out what's going on. My first clue is over here. It's a little sticky, so that makes me wonder where exactly the spill happened, but we got stickiness all over here. I think what we need to do, though, is remove this board and check out the other side of it, because that's the side that probably would have been affected. Now, looking a little closer, I already see a little bit of corrosion over here in this area. But here's what I'm thinking on this one. There's supposedly other people that have been in this, but things like this sticker right here, that I think that's for the battery connector, like it's not even folded back. It hasn't been removed as far as I can tell. I mean, so if someone folded it back that much to disconnect the battery, there would be more of a crease in it, I feel like. So I'm not sure what to think about this. The other thing is there's not any other indication that anyone's done anything on this entire thing. Maybe there's a little bit of a crease there, but it makes me wonder how much somebody actually tried to fix this, because even this right here, there's still corrosion there. It hasn't been cleaned off. Of course, maybe the other side is just so bad that they just decided it wasn't worth trying. So I'm not sure, but let's get it apart all the way and then we'll look at the other side and see how bad it is. There we go. Now that the battery's disconnected, I can disconnect everything else without a worry of shorting anything out or anything like that. Always try and do that first, as long as I remember. Sometimes I do forget. Okay, and with all those screws out for the board, I think this just kind of lifts out. Just like this. Something's connected still. Oh, here we go. We got a cable on the back side as well. Okay, so there we have it. And actually, I don't see really any liquid damage on the bottom side of this board. That is strange. Maybe a little bit over here. But other than that, not bad at all. All right, I think it's time to inspect this a little closer under a microscope and see if we can see exactly what's going on here. So this is the area I was looking at. You can see we got some serious corrosion going on over here. And maybe a little bit over here on this chip as well. It looks like it did spill over onto the other side. Let's check that out. Okay, maybe, here we go. We got a little bit of corrosion right down here. Other than that, I don't see any liquid damage on this thing. And I mean, at the risk of sounding overconfident, I feel like we gotta be able to fix this one. Because there's just, as you can see, this is just a really clean board. So as far as I can tell, this is the main part of our issue. And I'm not sure what this chip is, but it definitely could have a problem. So I'm gonna look up and see what this chip is and see what this guy is too. I don't know what that is. So I gotta get that done. And then we're gonna come back and check for shorts. We'll clean this whole area up. And then we'll see if we can diagnose what exactly is going on here. And after looking at a schematic, this is the keyboard backlight driver chip. And this is the keyboard backlight, it's just like a big resistor. So I'm not sure whether this would cause this board to not turn on, but I do know that all of this corrosion is probably causing a problem. I don't know if it's also a problem with the chip or whether it's just the corrosion, but what I'm gonna do is clean off all the corrosion, then we'll do some testing and see if we can find any shorts, and then we'll move on from there. So I'm just gonna take a dental pick. Oh yeah, this is still very sticky. I'm gonna take a dental pick and scrape off a bunch of this corrosion. Then after that, I'll come through with a toothbrush and some isopropyl alcohol and clean off any more that I can. Okay, and I think that's pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna be able to scrape much more than that off. So next I'm gonna come through with a toothbrush and some isopropyl alcohol and try and get anything off that I couldn't get with that dental pick. I'm gonna clean this debris off into a garbage can first. Okay, yeah, that's already looking a little better, but there's still quite a bit on there, I feel like. So get our isopropyl alcohol. I'm gonna put some on here and just kind of let it soak for a little bit. So black probe on a ground point. We should get a beep when there is very little resistance. Those ones should beep on this side because these are all connected to ground. It shouldn't beep over here. Oh, yeah, those are okay. Those all seem okay. All right, and none of those are shorted. Now let's check this. I think it's a resistor. And I think we just have it connected here and then over here, but I keep touching that capacitor over there. Okay, it looks like we have 1 ohm right there. And that should be 0.17 ohms, so that should basically, yeah, so that's just my meter reading straight through basically, which that's what it should do. So we should be fine there. Now, since we don't have any shorts on these components, I think the best thing we can do is plug this thing in and start doing some voltage testing and see if we have the voltages we need. And then if we don't, we'll see if we can figure out why not. Now I have most of this together. I'm not gonna put in all the screws or anything. I'm just gonna plug this battery in when I'm done and just see if it happens to work after all of that. I mean, the chances aren't good that it will, but I have seen that happen before. That'll be enough to hold the board in. So what I'm gonna do is plug in the power cable over here and then we'll flip it over and see if it'll turn on. Okay, I don't see anything going on so far. Let's see what happens if we try to turn it on. This power button over here is a little sticky. Oh. Okay, so that so crunchy. Okay, so this changes everything. Wow. So that's gonna be a problem. Unfortunately, they don't make these so you can just take the keyboard out anymore. Now instead of that little part of the board we're working on, it's this entire keyboard that is really sticky. There's not really a good way to replace them. The only way to fix something like that is to basically buy a new bottom assembly, so it comes with like the case and the keyboard all installed as one piece, and then put the screen onto that. And that's probably why the repair shops decided that it wasn't worth fixing, just because of that, because that's just too expensive. And given this is a MacBook Air, they're not worth as much as like a MacBook Pro, and a lot of times they're just not worth that. If these were more repairable, so you could, like on the older ones, you could just take that keyboard out, pop a new keyboard in, and you're ready to go. But unfortunately, as previously discussed, Apple doesn't want you fixing these. They want you to go buy a new one, so they make it incredibly hard to repair some of this stuff. Ah, such a bummer. I had such high hopes for this board too. So unfortunately, given all of those facts, this one we're just gonna have to call not fixable as well, and I'll just save this one for parts for hopefully other MacBook Airs that I might need to fix in the future. Let's move on to the fourth and final MacBook. Ah, such a bummer. And for the fourth and final MacBook, we've got an A1990 MacBook Pro. It's got a bit of a story to it. I'll tell you while I take it apart. So for any of you who've been following my channel for a long time, and I'm talking years, you may remember a video where I tried to fix a MacBook Pro, and at the end of the video, I brought out another MacBook Pro and said that would be the next one that I worked on. And I think this is the first video I've made about MacBook Pros since then, and this is that computer. So it's been sitting in the corner of my studio, hanging out, corroding more for all this time, but let's open it up and see how bad it is. Whoo! Got it. Okay, and now the grand re-reveal. This is what we have to work with. And this is super dirty on the inside. I believe this one is liquid damaged, although I don't actually really see much. Maybe, no, that's just dirt over there. Let me flip it around here. Batteries look decent. I don't see anything on this side of the board. So let's take it apart and have a look at the other side. Okay, do we have liquid damage on the other side? So far I don't really see any, but it is extremely dirty. The heat sinks are also pretty dirty. So next I'm just going to inspect this board carefully, probably clean it up a little bit and see if we can figure out what's going on. So far I don't see any liquid damage at all. So I'm not sure what's going on with this one, but let's take these covers off. See if there's any liquid damage underneath them. There's none under there. Okay, let's try this one though. This should be the CD3215, I believe, which is what controls charging, and no problems there at all. There's nothing in there that looks bad. Let's check the other side. And same thing there. No problems. Let's check this one. This looks kind of like, it's almost like maybe a little bit almost oily around this. But also that might just be how it looks. I'm not saying that's how it is even. No, no problem there at all. Okay, so at this point, I think our only choice is to plug this thing in and see if it's taking a charge, and then we can go from there. So let's see if it's charging. 0.05 amps. Nothing's getting warm on the board, and it definitely doesn't seem to be wanting to charge. Clearly the battery's not actually hooked up, so this isn't actually, I'm not actually talking about charging, but the amps going in to the board. I think next what I'll do is put this back in enough to hook up the battery, and then let's just see what the amperage is. So all I'm going to hook back up here is the battery. There we go. Let's see what we get on our charge meter. And we're getting the same reading. We just got 0.05 amps going in, which is basically nothing. So that makes me wonder about these chips that control the charging. I think that's the first thing we need to check. So I've taken a close look at this board. I've tested all of these lines right here. These are based on the schematic and board view, and I don't see any problems, at least initially. It is possible that the CD3215s are faulty on this, but as far as I can tell, they have voltage in and they're putting at least most of the voltage out where it needs to be. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe this just needs the firmware updated or something like that. So I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to try and restore this via DFU using my other Mac, and let's see if that'll get it working. Okay, so we have the dead MacBook Pro hooked up to the live MacBook Pro, and you can kind of see it. It's really hard to get this all on camera, but it does show DFU over here. So let's see if we can revive it. We're going to go over here to revive device. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can. Reviving device. Okay. Step 2 of 4, downloading system. Really hope this works. Okay, installing system. The system cannot be restored. Unexpected device state, DFU, expected recovery, probably forced into DFU mode externally. Okay, that's a bummer. So I don't know for sure, but I'm kind of wondering if this Mac just has a completely dead and bad battery. I think what I'm going to do is plug in the battery we took out of the first MacBook Pro, because I know that battery at least charges and it has enough charge in it to start up a computer. So let's try that first and then try restoring it again and see what happens. I am putting some Kapton tape down here to hopefully make sure that we don't get any short circuits or anything like that when we're working with this thing. So what I'm gonna do is bend this cable a little bit so we can hopefully get a good connection to the battery right here. Oh, that could be a problem. This is not ideal. Definitely do not copy this. I might just have to replace this battery, but I want to try and see if this will at least work before I do that. Okay, there's that part. This part we'll plug in next. Okay, got that. Okay, so here we go. Now we're going to plug this back in. Let's see what happens. Okay, DFU, advanced, revive device. Let's try this all again. Come on. We're back to step 4 of 4, but so far that error isn't back, so that's good news so far. I am kind of just stuck here holding this battery up this whole time. I guess I probably could set it down. Okay, better. So as far as I can tell, the padlock symbol just means I didn't put this computer into DFU mode correctly. So I'm going to try that all again. Okay, so power button for 1 second, then shift and control option for 10 seconds. 1001, 9, 10. Okay, that should be it for that. Now I think we're in DFU mode on this computer. It does kind of make me wonder about this because I still get nothing on the screen, but I'm going to try and recover it again or revive it again. And let's see what happens. And we've gotten to the exact same place, so I'm not real hopeful about this. And we get the same thing. So I'm going to do some experimenting here. So Apple Configurator isn't letting me do any of the things that I'm trying to do with this Mac, so I think there's still something going on in here, but I'm going to mess around a little bit more with this and just see if I can get anything to work. And then if I can't, we'll get back down to diagnosing the motherboard on this MacBook Pro. Okay, and we actually randomly have it up to 20 volts now. You can't see it and I can't move it, but this computer actually is getting 20 volts, 1.3. Whoa, okay. This could be good news, although I still don't see anything on the screen. That could be a problem. I feel like maybe we fixed this one by recovering it with DFU mode. I mean, as far as we can, I feel like maybe the screen is an issue. But we definitely fixed the charging issue. I'm going to turn it over and recheck this screen, the screen connection, and see if there's any problems there. Like I said, there is some issues with the screen being broken down at the bottom, so it could be just a faulty screen. But knowing that this motherboard is working now is huge. Now we can maybe use that motherboard for a different broken MacBook Pro, or at a minimum use parts off of it for other repairs. Let's take a look underneath and make sure the screen ribbon cable is plugged in, and then I'm also going to plug in the battery that's for this MacBook Pro and remove this old battery from the other one, and let's see if it'll still work with its original battery hooked up. So the fans are spinning on this, so we know for sure that this is powered on. What I'm going to do is power it off, remove this battery, hook up the old battery, or the original battery that came with this, and then we'll try and plug it in again and see if it'll charge this battery. Okay, original battery is hooked up. Let's see what happens when we plug it in, and then when we try and turn it on. 5 volts, 0.08 amps, 0.24 amps. Come on! 20 volts, okay. That's good. Let's see what happens when we try and power it on. Okay, we get the startup chime, but just nothing on the screen. That is such a bummer. As much as I hate to say it, this MacBook Pro just has a faulty screen, and so unfortunately I'm not going to be able to fully fix this one, but we were able to get the board working, which feels amazing, and it's good to know that I do have parts or a replacement board if needed. While I was working on this, I charged up this liquid damaged Mac, and I think it might have signs of life. Let's check it out again. So once again, this is the MacBook Air that has the extremely sticky keyboard. In fact, everything's sticky on this thing. Let's try and turn it on though. If we can. Actually, I don't know if we can because I don't think the on button works. So I'm going to plug it in. See if that will get it working. I thought I saw signs of life over there while I had it charging. Okay, it is charging at 20 volts, 0.48, and almost 1 amp. Oh, we got a fan. Come on. Oh, the fan keeps spinning just a little bit and then it stops. Let's see if we can get it to turn on again. When I press the power button, the fan does spin, but it just doesn't come all the way on. And look at that, we got a little bit of screen going on. And now it's gone. I'm not sure what happened there. We definitely did get something on the screen. There we go. It's back again. And while we do get something on the screen periodically, unfortunately with this keyboard in this condition, liquid is just all throughout all these little cracks and crevices in here. And a number of the keyboard keys are just totally broken, probably from people doing what I'm doing, except for really hard. And so unfortunately this one, even though we were able to get it working a little to show something on the screen, ultimately it's just not gonna be fixable. If you like this type of video where I'm trying to fix MacBook Pros, I'm gonna put one up on your screen that I think you're gonna like, so come hang out with me over there and see if I can fix the MacBook Pro I'm working on in that video. Thanks so much for watching today. Be sure to go to TronicsFix.com and check out our new merch, and I hope you have a good one.